I'm wondering if this mindset, this approach is something that companies should be leveraging more and more when it comes to AI, when it comes to thinking through new ways of doing things, is identify what you're the best at
Yeah,
and
yeah,
put
yeah.
all your effort into focusing on simplifying that and leave everything else alone. And I'm
Mhm.
wondering, is that something that you think is a path that CIOs should be moving towards, or do you think, customize it all you want? That's the path given your experience.
Yeah, it really comes down to the functional leader that you're partnering with. Change is hard. Sometimes people perceive their path to their ascension to their current role as because, I know these things and this is what got the company here and this is the secret sauce. And when they see something like a Salesforce or some of these SaaS tools that have these more kind of vanilla processes, there's almost like a, yick factor there, like, nah, that's not how we got here, right? And so I've seen it happen both ways, and I don't always win that one. I don't always win that tug of war. Sometimes you have to pick hill you're going to die on kind of thing. It's a little bit of a give and take there, right? You don't want to have a situation where you've got a functional leader that is completely disenfranchised with the process because they don't feel like they're being listened to. And if you don't win, right, if you can't make that sale that, hey, if you just do this, a lot of the other things become easier. If you can't make that sale, sometimes you just have to do your best with what you're given. And maybe it's not optimal, but at least you've got everybody going in the same direction and you don't necessarily have this friction. Because what happens when things go wrong, right? You implement this thing. If you don't get the outcomes that people were looking for, then all of a sudden everyone's looking to see whose fault it is. And if you don't have that sort of alignment throughout the implementation, then that becomes very contentious. That's been my experience. I don't always win every one of those. And I try and give as compelling an argument as I can. But I also don't know, right? You have to trust these folks that they know what the heck they're doing. And that if they really put their foot down and say, no, like this customization is absolutely critical to our business, it is differentiating. Whether you agree or not, you've got to respect their expert judgment and be their partner and help them get the most out of the system that they're looking for.
I couldn't agree with you more. And going back to our earlier conversation of working alongside the business, I think sometimes the role of a CIO in this new leadership role of bringing those facts to the table is presenting truth and saying, I'm not telling you what you should or should not do, but let me present the information of what reality is because you may never have seen it before. And, going back to, this business process concept, if someone's willing to die on a hill because they believe that their business process should be set up in a certain way, but the reality is they've been running it in a completely different way. And the partner you've brought in to do the custom development work has been given a third way, you now have no reconciliation of reality
Right.
and no one's going to be happy.
Yep.
That's where there's a really good opportunity in today's world with some of these new tools, this new way of thinking. And sometimes it's a fresh mindset to
Hmm.
come in and say, I'm not here to influence, but I'm here to present what things really are.
Yeah.
And there's some things that are only coming to the market now that CIOs can really leverage, whether they do it in house or they bring someone in to help to facilitate those types of discussions where it's not based off of emotion and how things used to be done, but everyone can look at a piece of paper and say, okay, if this is what you want, let's truly map this out. And if it is differentiating, let's lock it in and define it. And if it is different, or if there's ways of improving a 25-step process to 5 and maybe adding a few custom pieces to it, then that's what we should do. And I think there's now an openness for this conversation because AI is shining the light on everything. Because if you don't fix the fundamentals, you just
Yeah.
merely accelerate chaos.